Well, we're back right here on Hello Kuwait, and our guest that we have right here in the studio, we have with us Shaitali B. Roy, and Shaitali is the special correspondent at the Arab Times newspaper and the author of Women of Kuwait, Turning Tides, and she's also an editor and producer at Radio Kuwait. Shaitali, welcome to our program, Hello Kuwait.
Thank you so much, Tariq, and thank you for calling me.
Nice to have you with us. It's our pleasure, and maybe you could start out by telling us a little bit about your book, Women of Kuwait, Turning Tides. How did you come up with the idea of working on this book and getting it out there?
Okay, actually it's taken some time. I've been working with Kuwaiti media for the last 15 years, from 2001. And as a part of my work with Arab Times, I was covering a lot of women achievers, Kuwaiti women. Because when I came to Kuwait, I had my set of stereotypes and preconceptions about Arab women. And when I set to work and I discovered and I met some women like Sheikha Hassan al-Sabah of Dar al-Athar al-Islamiyya and Sheikha Altaf al-Sabah of Sadhu House, and I said, wow, this is a whole new way of looking at things. And I decided to do a series on women. And moreover, I also followed this up with a series called The Kuwaitiya for Radio Kuwait. And the series went on for 3 years. So I was focusing on women, their achievements in different fields. And I also realized while researching these shows that a lot of young Kuwaitis are unaware of the work that some of these women have done. And I thought that maybe these stories may die after some time. People will just forget about that, you know. And so the project, it was there in my mind. I had dreamt of this for a long time, and then it kind of fell on my lap.
So how did that happen? How did it fall on your lap and you actually took the initiative, or with a group? How did it get the ball rolling then?
Yeah. Actually, I met my publisher, who is an Indian. It's an Indian publishing house called Har Anand Publications, based in Delhi. And he is one of the whiz kids of Indian publishing. He's been doing this for the last 45 years. And I happened to meet him in Kuwait, and I did not know he published books. I had no idea he was a publisher.
Okay, wow.
And we got into an argument because I think it was his first or second visit to Kuwait, and we got into an argument regarding Arab women and their achievements. And he said, why don't you send me one of your articles to prove your point? And so he went back to Delhi, and promptly the next day I sent him a couple of articles, and he read them and he said, wow, I mean, this is something we have to share with the world, with India. And then he said, why don't you start writing a book and we'll publish it? And that's how it happened. So
okay, that's how that stage happened.
Yeah.
But now there's so many women in Kuwait, that Kuwaiti women have achieved a lot in different fields. So the selection process, that must have been tiring. I'm sure you spoke to some of your friends and people, and that. How did that go about?
It was, I think, one of the toughest things I have done, because I was spoiled for choice. There are so many women, as you said, and in different various fields. So, but I had to take a decision, and I spoke to my friends, and I went back to the work that I had done for the last 15 years, and I made the selection from a spectrum. I wanted to represent arts and sports and education, politics.
Different fields.
Yeah, in different fields, you know, an entire spectrum. And so I decided to choose who I thought, the personal equation is also important when someone writes a book, you know. That empathy, that ability to understand the person and the character is important when you write about someone. So it's on the basis of that. As I said, I'm not saying that, I mean, this is the end of it. There may be a second part to it or whatever it is, but these are people who have made considerable contributions in their field of work, and
So do you mind telling us a little bit about the book now? The length, a little bit who's featured and so forth. Maybe put up the main page for our audience to look at and hold that still, and please talk.
Yes,
you just move it there.
So here there are
16, actually
17 women. Because